She thought copying someone's trauma would win her an Oscar. But when the real victim stepped forward, this actress learned a lesson that would change her forever. Asterisk, asterisk. Scarlett Morrison was Hollywood's golden girl. Stunning, privileged, and completely untouchable. At 28, with platinum blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, and a smile that graced magazine covers worldwide, she had never known real struggle. Born into wealth, raised in Beverly Hills mansions, and handed her first movie role through family connections, Scarlett's biggest hardship had been choosing between designer gowns for red carpet events. She was talented, yes, but she'd never had to fight for anything in her perfectly curated life. Living in the shadows of that same city was Maria Gonzalez, a 34-year-old domestic violence survivor who worked 3 jobs just to keep a roof over her and her 8-year-old daughter's heads. Small and soft-spoken, with tired eyes that seen too much and hands that shook whenever someone raised their voice, Maria was everything Scarlett was not. Her face bore the invisible scars of years of abuse, her spirit broken and rebuilt countless times. She cleaned office buildings at night, worked at a diner during the day, and spent her weekends at a local community center, quietly helping other women escape situations like the one she'd barely survived. The opportunity came disguised as Scarlett's big break, a starring role in Shatterglass, an independent film about domestic violence that was already generating Oscar buzz. The director, known for his raw, authentic portrayals of human suffering, had one requirement. The lead actress had to understand the reality of abuse, not just act it. He wanted truth, not performance. Scarlett saw dollar signs and golden statues, but she had never experienced anything remotely close to the character's trauma. That's when her ambitious agent suggested something that would change everything. There's this support group downtown, real survivors. You could observe, maybe even participate. Method acting at its finest, Scarlett. This could be your Charlize Theron in Monster Moment. For 6 weeks, Scarlett infiltrated the Thursday night support group at the downtown community center, claiming to be a recent survivor named Sarah, who was too traumatized to share her story yet. She sat in a circle of metal folding chairs, surrounded by women whose pain was raw and real, taking mental notes like a predator studying prey. She observed their body language, memorized their speech patterns, and absorbed their most intimate traumas like a sponge soaking up water. Maria was the group's quiet cornerstone, the woman others looked for strength, though she rarely spoke about her own experiences. When she did share, her voice would drop to barely above a whisper, her hands would tremble, and she'd unconsciously touch a barely visible scar on her left temple. Scarlett studied every gesture, every inflection, every tear that rolled down Maria's weathered cheeks. She was particularly fascinated by Maria's habit of looking toward the door whenever someone entered the room late, the way she flinched at sudden movements, and how she always sat with her back to the wall. After each meeting, Scarlett would rush home to her luxury apartment and practice Maria's mannerisms in front of her bathroom mirror. She perfected the nervous laugh Maria used when discussing difficult topics, the way she picked at her cuticles when anxious, and even the specific way she said, "I'm sorry," approximately 30 times per conversation. Scarlett was building a performance on the foundation of someone else's genuine trauma, and she felt no guilt about it whatsoever. Week after week, Scarlett collected pieces of Maria's story like trophies. The time Maria's ex-husband threw her down the stairs while she was pregnant, causing her to lose the baby she desperately wanted. The night he held a knife to her throat and promised to kill her if she ever tried to leave. The months she spent sleeping in her car with her daughter because shelters were full. The job interview where she had to explain away the bruises on her arms. Every detail was cataloged and stored away for future use. The other group members embraced Sarah, sharing their own stories and offering support to someone they believed was walking the same painful path. Maria, despite her own struggles, became particularly protective of the newcomer, often staying after meetings to check on her and offering her phone number in case of emergencies. The irony was lost on Scarlett. The woman she was exploiting was also the one showing her the most genuine kindness she'd ever experienced. 3 months into filming, everything changed. Scarlett had been giving interview after interview about her transformative preparation for the role, carefully dancing around the specifics while hinting at deep research and emotional sacrifice. She spoke vaguely about connecting with real survivors and understanding the true depth of this experience. The entertainment media ate it up, already positioning her as a frontrunner for award season. That's when Maria saw the trailer. Sitting in the break room of the diner where she worked her morning shift, Maria watched in horror as scenes from Shattered Glass played on the mounted television. The actress on screen was performing Maria's exact mannerisms, speaking with Maria's specific speech patterns, even wearing her hair in the same protective style Maria had adopted after her ex-husband once grabbed her by her ponytail. But it was the bathroom scene that made Maria's blood run cold, a moment where the character checked herself in the mirror, touching the same spot where Maria's scar was. Speaking the exact words Maria had whispered to herself every morning for years. "You're still here. You survived another day." Those were words Maria had never shared in group therapy. Those were words she had only said to herself, alone, in the privacy of her own bathroom mirror. The only way this actress could know them was if she had been watching Maria in her most private moments, or if someone Maria trusted had betrayed that confidence. The truth hit her like a physical blow. Sarah from group therapy wasn't a survivor at all. She was Scarlett Morrison, the famous actress, and she had been stealing Maria's story, her pain, her most intimate moments of vulnerability, to build a career-defining performance. The confrontation happened not in some dramatic Hollywood setting, but in the fluorescent-lit community center where the support group met every Thursday. Maria had spent a week researching, confirming her suspicions, and working up the courage to attend one more meeting. When Scarlett walked in that Thursday night, probably planning to collect a few more authentic details before filming wrapped, Maria was waiting. "Hello, Scarlett," Maria said quietly, using the actress's real name for the first time. The color drained from Scarlett's face. Around them, the other group members looked confused. They still knew her as Sarah, the traumatized survivor who had been attending for months. "I saw your movie trailer," Maria continued, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. "Imagine my surprise when I watched you perform my life, my words, my pain, for the whole world to see. Tell me, Scarlett, when you practiced my mannerisms in your Beverly Hills bathroom, did you feel even a moment of shame?" The room fell silent. The other survivors began to understand what had happened. Their trust had been violated, their safe space had been infiltrated, and their most vulnerable moments had been commodified for someone else's gain. Scarlett tried to stammer out an explanation, but Maria wasn't finished. "You want to know about surviving abuse, Scarlett? It's not just the bruises or the broken bones. It's having your story stolen. It's being reduced to entertainment for people who think trauma is a costume they can put on and take off. You studied me like I was an animal in a zoo, took what you needed, and planned to walk away with awards built on my suffering." Tears were streaming down Maria's face now, but her voice remained strong. "You'll never understand what it feels like to have your deepest pain turned into someone else's profit. But maybe that's a lesson you needed to learn." The aftermath was swift and brutal. Word of Scarlett's deception spread through both Hollywood and social media like wildfire. The support group members shared their stories, and journalists picked up the narrative of the privileged actress who had infiltrated trauma survivors for career gain. The movie studio, fearing backlash, pulled much of their marketing campaign. Award season buzz turned into scandal coverage. But the real change came from something unexpected. Instead of trying to salvage her reputation with excuses or legal threats, Scarlett did something that surprised everyone. She listened. For the first time in her life, she sat with the discomfort of being truly wrong, truly hurtful, and truly accountable. She reached out to Maria, not through lawyers or publicists, but with a simple, handwritten letter. "I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know that I finally understand the difference between performing pain and carrying it. I want to do better." What followed was a year of education for Scarlett. Not the superficial kind that Hollywood often engages in, but real, difficult learning. She volunteered at domestic violence shelters, not for photo opportunities, but for grunt work, cleaning, organizing donations, answering phones. She used her platform and her Shattered Glass earnings to fund programs for survivors. Most importantly, she learned to step back and amplify the voices of actual survivors instead of speaking for them. The movie was eventually released with a different marketing approach, one that centered the real survivors who had consulted on the project, including Maria, who became an advocate for authentic representation in media. Scarlett's performance was critically acclaimed, but she used every interview to redirect attention to the people whose stories actually mattered. 2 years later, at the premiere of a documentary about domestic violence survivors that Scarlett had helped fund, but deliberately stayed away from to keep the focus on the survivors themselves, Maria was asked about forgiveness. "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened," Maria said, looking directly into the camera. "It's about choosing to see someone's growth over their mistakes." Scarlett learned that our stories aren't costumes to be worn. They're lives to be honored. That's a lesson worth learning, even if it came the hard way. Sometimes the most powerful performances happen not on camera, but in real life, when someone learns to step out of the spotlight and use their privilege to lift others up. True artistry isn't about stealing someone else's truth. It's about having the courage to find and share your own. ****. If you like that story, subscribe for more. Thank you, and until next time,